Fatale, available on premium video and on demand today, currently available in theaters, starring a friend of the program, Mike Coulter, who is just dynamite, Hilary Swank, and this actor, who also is the pride of Silver Spring, Maryland, born in Washington, D.C. He's a Terp through and through, and his Washington football team is taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Saturday night of Super Wild Card weekend. The actor, Michael Ealy, here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Michael?
I'm good, Rich. How are you?
I am doing fine. So are you fired up for this game on Saturday night, I might imagine, Michael, yes?
Yeah, it's been a long time. It's been a long time. But yeah, I think I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Obviously, the odds are stacked kind of against us, but any given Sunday, right?
So did you go to games in RFK, in the old RFK, or
I did when I was little.
Right.
When I was little, my dad took me to a couple, and I've only been to one game, I think, at FedEx Field, because by the time I moved away from the area, I just I never got back on a Sundays in time for a game, really.
So who was your guy growing up then, Michael? Who were you like? This is the guy I emulated. Sports fan. Who was that guy for you?
Art Monk.
Art Monk. Why not?
Yeah.
One of the all-time greats, right? I mean, one of the all-time greats.
All-time greats. It was like, he was there for the duration of my childhood. Like, I loved Doug Williams, but he only gave us a couple seasons, right? So,
right.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's like you talk about the tried and true guys, the Mike Nelms, the John Riggins, the Art Monk, Gary Clark, those guys.
Darryl Green.
Yeah, Darryl Green, Dean Green. All those guys I grew up with, and they're all legends in my head.
Darryl Green, I run the 40-yard dash at the Combine every year for charity. Darryl Green wants in. He wants to beat me. He wants to prove that he could beat me. I think he's in his mid-50s, and I want no piece of him, Michael.
You don't want that.
No.
You don't,
I'm not there for that smoke. He's 60?
Don't do it. Don't do it
60.
To yourself, man.
Oh, my.
Yeah. That dude looked like he was going to be in shape his whole entire life.
Well, the thing is, that even at age 60, his age would be my 40 time, 6-0. Like I would sign up for a 6-0 to run my 40 in a 6-0. I would sign.
I'd wait till Darryl Green's about 79 before I'd race him.
By the way, excellent advice. Let me write that down, Michael Ealy. Let me write that down. Okay, so and then you're a Terp, right? So who's your guy when you were at school there? Who was going through the Maryland when you were there?
While I was at school, Joe Smith came.
Nice.
Like before I graduated. He and Stevie Francis kind of came. I think they were there close to when I was there. But yeah, it was. I mean, Blake and Juan Dixon came probably a little bit after me. But when I was growing up, Len Bias was king. So
yeah,
But I was actually. This is where it gets funny. I was actually a Hoyas fan.
Okay.
Before I went to Maryland, I was a Hoyas fan.
Well, I mean, that's more, I guess, if you really just want to talk D.C., I mean, that is Washington, D.C. as you possibly can get. And if you're talking, you must be talking about, what, like Allen Iverson type Georgetown or a little bit before that even?
I was Ewing.
I mean,
I was Patrick Ewing,
Michael Ealy,
Reggie Williams.
I mean, we got it. So you and I are the same age, even though you're much more of a fine wine than I am. So we're talking about the same era. Like, you got to tell all these TikTokers out there that the Big East, which people don't talk about, the Big East of the '80s. When Ewing was going through it, and Mullen was my guy, and St. John's with Raymond Berry, not Raymond Berry.
Walter Berry.
Walter Berry, of course. Walter Berry. Remember Walter Berry, the Truth, right?
Wasn't that Lou Carnesecca's team?
Of course it was, and then Villanova won the national championship.
Massimino, Robert.
Right,
yeah.
and Pitino was coaching, Providence with the current coach of the Chicago Bulls, Billy Donovan. This is serious business. The Big East back in the day.
Have you ever seen a documentary, Requiem for the Big East?
I have heard. I've never sat that down, but I need to see it. I need to watch it.
Tremendous.
Do it. It takes you back to that era, man. And I didn't even know this, but technically Patrick Ewing was the catalyst for the Big East to become what it was. He was the first big player to sign with a Big East team, and that started what is now, well, what was then, labeled as the Big East. Like, that's how they got big. It started with Patrick Ewing, and then it just kind of went from there.
Well, I got to tell you, man, those were the days, no doubt about that. I love that. So you're a Georgetown fan before, Maryland Terps. Michael Ealy here on the Rich Eisen Show. So let's talk about your film here. Hilary Swank, Mike Coulter has been on the show a couple times. He's dynamite. And then you're playing a successful sports agent, and I'm wondering if you how you studied for this role in this film, Michael.
Yeah. Well, my sports agenting is about one scene of this movie.
Okay.
It's about one scene of this movie, and I did a scene where I think we were like, me and Mike were recruiting Lance Stevenson because he was playing with the Lakers at the time, and we were recruiting him, and it wasn't that detailed because, like I said, I just didn't spend a lot of time on that. I spent most of the movie, if not 99% of it, kind of fighting for my life because of the impact of Hilary Swank on me on this one. So,
right.
But yeah, in terms of sports, I kind of looked at Rich Paul as kind of an example.
Okay.
It's interesting. You build this empire by yourself, and you don't want to kind of get swallowed up by the behemoth that is William Morris, and that was, kind of the extent of the agent dialogue, so to speak.
But then there's the, as you said, the 99% other of the film. I'll give you the floor on this and what you enjoyed about it and what we will enjoy about it, seeing it currently in theaters and available on premium video and on demand today.
Yeah, so you can see it in house now, which is much better, obviously. It is a movie about seemingly having it all, right? So you imagine somebody who has it all. They've built this empire. They've got the wife, they've got the house, they got everything, and they're pretty broken with regards to what's going on with him personally. And ultimately, he goes to Vegas, and in Vegas, his best friend and business partner, played by Mike Coulter, encourage him to just, turn up. And, that leads to an entanglement with his character. And you think everything is that happens in Vegas.
Unfortunately, I think we're losing him.
It does not. So we come back to L.A. and, there's a break-in at my house, and the investigator, the head detective on that, happens to be Hilary Swank's character, and I'm sitting there with my wife. So at that point, all hell breaks loose. All hell breaks loose, and you watch this character lose pretty much everything that he worked so hard for.
And thus the Fatale part about it. So that's available again on premium video and on demand today. Film currently available also in theaters. Enjoy watching your Washington football team on Saturday night. I hope they keep going. It's a hell of a feel-good story this year. And let's do this more often, Michael. I appreciate the call.
I appreciate it, Rich. Thank you, man. Thanks for having me.
You got it. That's Michael Ealy, at Michael Ealy on Twitter and at the Michael Ealy on Instagram. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.